Today is March 21st. My name is Eduardo Chavez. Grab your PS Vita and welcome to today's Broken Vita Show. So, Crimson Desert came out yesterday. I believe it came out for PC and for PS5. I've been following this game for a few years now. I think ever since it got announced back in 2022, I believe. I could be wrong there, but I've been following its sort of progression throughout the years. And of course, like everyone else, I was actually really hyped up for it because based on the visuals that we saw and a little bit about, you know, the exploration, the open worldness, the action, the combat that was in that game, it definitely looked like it was something like, it looked like a spectacle to behold. So I was pretty excited for it. But apparently the game came out yesterday. I'm not gonna go ahead and buy it, mainly because I got plenty on my plate in terms of what I have to play. So it's not something that I'm, you know, gonna go out there and buy, but I was really curious to see what the reviews were and what people were saying about it. And by the looks of it, it looks like the game came out and released to be very mediocre, at least from what I've heard, which is, in my opinion, is fine. There's a certain games that come out and are considered, you know, to be meh or, you know, on the mediocre stage. I'm personally of the mindset that you should still give them a chance if you're interested in playing them. And that's kind of what I really wanted to touch on with the release of this game. Crimson Desert, again, I feel like we expected so much from it that we were like obsessed with seeing what the next detail about it was soon released. I think it was the developer was like hounded because there weren't enough details about how it ran on console, and there was a lot of questions leading up to its release point about, hey, how well does it run on console? We know it runs well on PC, but does it really run well on the PS5? And I'm not sure if it came out on the Xbox, but it might have. To which there was a recent gameplay release, and sure enough, it looked a little janky on the PS5, which is honestly completely fine. I personally wasn't expecting much from that game in general, but again, people were hyped up for it, and I think sure enough, it's selling like really well. So they're definitely making their the developers are definitely making their money back in terms of people who are hyping up, who are excited for that game, who ultimately now have it. So in that regard, it definitely did really well. But I wanted to briefly touch base on the whole, you know, mediocreness of the games that we play in general today. It's okay to play like games that are mediocre. There's nothing wrong with that. I'm of the mindset that, like, if you generally want to experience that title and you have some interest in playing it, by all means check it out. Don't pay attention so much to the review scores or even the whole review score of it. I think it ended up getting like an 80, which honestly 80 is perfectly good. That isn't to say, you know, it's an excellent game, but 80 should definitely be something that you as a gamer like should check out if you're interested in that game. This might be a bad example, but for me personally, like I'm a huge Square Enix fan, so when Forspoken came out, I ended up buying it. I think I bought it like not initially, but I bought it like on sale. But the point that I'm getting at is that at some point I do want to play that game, and I know, trust me, I've heard so many tales back and forth about how it's not that good or it's not that great, but I definitely want to check it out. Again, even though it's mediocre, dude, some of the most mediocre games end up being the most memorable of all. And if you go around just playing like the biggest hits or the ones that are ultimately reviewed the highest, you know, you tend to miss out on a lot of games in that regard. So again, my sort of word of encouragement here is, if you're interested in playing Crimson Desert, by all means check it out. If it's something that's you've been seeing and you've been like, okay, this is my type of game, by all means feel free to check it out, based on what your interest is. There was also speculation, or at least not speculation, there was like some recent reports about how apparently the controls don't play that well, which is that's a whole nother issue, but who's to say it won't work for you? But then again, I'm not sure. I'm not I don't play on PC, but for some reason I guess the controller doesn't work on some PCs or something like that. But again, if you want to check out that sort of game, if you're interested in Crimson Desert, by all means check it out. We definitely deserve, or we should be supporting, unique titles like that are brand new and original IP into the space. So yeah, man, play Crimson Desert if that's sort of your thing. It's not for me. I have plenty to check out, but if that's something you're interested in, by all means, play Crimson Desert. So the inspiration for today's episode actually came to me while I was trying to research a topic for my video today. And it's funny because through my research, all I was seeing was just negative content out there, just nonstop. Things about layoffs, things about how the gaming industry is in a mess because of AI, and just a bunch of negativity that just feel like it's just out there and destroying the gaming industry overall. And I sort of wanted to do something or write something like a short piece about what is it that we can do as like gamers to help out this industry that we love so much. And it was a bit of a tough struggle, because I there's only so much we can do as gamers other than actually going out there and buying the content or buying the games. But it seems like with again, free-to-play games, that sort of becomes a bit harder to do, especially when the only way that we can actually support a game is through buying, for example, skins and stuff like that, and keeping up with updates, which again, it's a nice place to start, but what about those games that that are not free to play? So I wanted to see if I could sort of find a sort of space where we can all sort of contribute something in our own way towards helping the gaming industry overall. And of course, I think I say it in the episode, is that this isn't by no means the only way to do this. There are countless of ways we can support the gaming industry as a whole. And honestly, I feel like it's in a space where it definitely needs it, because man, it's the gaming industry right now, it seems like it's in free fall, and who knows if a couple years from now how different it's gonna be, especially with consoles seemingly skyrocketing in price one day, and then the Steam machine being announced one day, and then not being delayed for the end of the year, and then it's crazy. It's absurd sometimes. But yeah, so that was sort of the inspiration for today's video. What ended up happening again was that I was just seeing a bunch of just negative stories one after the other, and I wanted to see if I could write something not necessarily positive, but certainly something that could potentially help alleviate the bad news from the gaming industry. So without further ado, here's today's episode. I believe I'm going to call it might change, but I'm going to call it 3 ways to support the gaming industry. And as always, if you guys enjoy the content, please subscribe to the channel. It helps me out tremendously if you guys subscribe. Like the video if you can, comment on the video if you're able to. And as always, thank you guys for your support. I really wouldn't be doing this if I didn't enjoy this whole process. So thank you guys for giving me that opportunity. And as always, again, thank you for your support. And without further ado, here's today's episode. I hope you enjoy. It seems like lately the gaming industry seems to be in a dumpster fire. Everywhere you look, from articles to videos to reels, we're constantly being shown news about how bad the current state of the gaming industry is, with reports of layoffs happening left and right, AI slot being placed in the games where we don't want it, and prices seemingly skyrocketing overnight. Things appear bad everywhere. Rather than continue on this trend of delivering more negative news, I wanted to provide a way to help this industry that's in dire need of help. These are by no means the only ways to help, simply my own observations and thoughts on things we can do as gamers to help out. So without further ado, here are 3 ways that we as gamers can support the gaming industry. Call out predatory practices. You don't need me to tell you that things are bad economically out there. Everything is going up in price, and yet it appears that every single major company out there is still after your hard-earned money. The gaming industry unfortunately has a lot of these money-hungry companies. Games are made to make money after all, and it makes sense to support the games that you like and are interested in. So when a new game is out and you like to support it, by all means make your voice heard and invest in your purchase. But also, feel free to call out bad practices that look like or even feel like they're just after your money. A good example of this is PlayStation's recent experiment with dynamic pricing. Dynamic pricing is essentially adjusting prices for consumers based on things like time of day, competitor prices, even during times of high or low demand. In other words, Sony basically charging you a specific amount based on the data they've collected from you. Another example is the increased cost of subscriptions. Xbox not too long ago increased the pricing on Game Pass, and as a result, gamers left and right was unsubscribing from the service. And that isn't to say that it's just Sony and Microsoft doing this. Valve and Nintendo have their own problems as well. But what I'm getting at is that these practices will continue to happen, and it's on us to fight back where we can. I'm a big advocate of voting with your wallet, and if a major company is doing something you don't like, by all means don't give them your money. The gaming industry definitely needs our support to survive, but we as consumers shouldn't be taken advantage of either. If we want a thriving gaming industry, both parties should have a transactional balance that's fair on both sides. Play a variety of games. The gaming industry has a lot of similarities to the film industry. Both have your must-see releases, your hidden gems, and even your indie darlings. Both are also extremely successful in the entertainment world, and based on what we know about films themselves, some ideas can be tied to games as well. I'm talking specifically about variety and content. A successful film industry thrives on having films that appeal to a variety of consumers. Things like kid films, superhero films, horror films, etc. We can apply the same approach to games as well. Your PC or console is basically a box that can transport you to an endless variety of worlds. You can be racing in one world, fighting zombies in another, and even looting and extracting in a completely different one. The choices are almost infinite. In order for games to exist in this variety, however, these games have to be successful financially, which means that they have to be profitable. So if a new game comes out, or if there's a new genre you've been interested in trying, considering purchasing that title when it's feasible for you. Treat this as a call to action. If we want to continue getting original ideas and original games, we as gamers should play as many different types of games that we can. That doesn't mean that you should stop playing your current favorite game, but if there's something that even remotely catches your eye, consider checking it out. The gaming industry needs variety to survive, and if that means having us play more cool games overall, I'd say that's a win-win. Support gaming journalism. Here's the thing. The reason we're so aware of all the stuff happening and being done in the gaming industry is because there are good people out there doing good work in gaming journalism. And when I say journalism, I mean real journalism. Not some YouTuber making wacky sounds online, not a TikTok personality making offensive remarks over a game they've never even played, but a journalist who cites their sources, reports factual information, and who states their opinions are just opinions. By all means, find or discover your favorite outlet or creator, but make sure your BS meter is always on, regardless of who you're reading or watching. Personally, I'm a huge supporter of Aftermath and Kotaku. I can tell that they truly care about the gaming landscape overall. Even well-known websites like IGN are still great, and while the reviews may sometimes be controversial, always keep in mind that reviews are merely opinion pieces written by individuals who may not always agree with both you or me. Again, find an outlet or individual whose work seems beneficial to the gaming space and show your support where you can. Sometimes that means signing up for a subscription, buying merchandise, even sharing a link can go a long way. A flourishing gaming industry needs to have a healthy gaming journalism alongside it, mainly for us to continue staying informed. Lately, it seems like the bad news don't stop for the gaming industry, and with the constant news cycle accessible by our phones, it probably won't stop. There are, however, a few things we can do to promote a healthier gaming landscape. Calling out predatory practices that are unfair to consumers, playing a variety of games that encourage different ideas and original creations, and supporting gaming journalism that allows us to continue staying informed about the good and the bad in the gaming world. These are the ways that we can provide support, even when the industry seems to be in freefall. And in doing so, we can have a gaming industry that is best beneficial to all of those involved.